Heading you to Sydney for the next of our isolation interviews, we join up with Australian Turf Club's James Ross. James, wow, Championships Day 1 really set the scene, and Day 2 looks like a terrific day as well. How happy are you with Fields?
Yeah, really pleased, Aidan. I think they've come up nicely. It's been a challenging time, which is well documented, but obviously our Group 1 racing last weekend was really top class. TJ Smith in particular, that race we felt was on par almost with an Everest. So that was great. But we've had strong Kiwi influence all the way through, and we've got a great lineup this weekend, headed by the Queen Elizabeth, where we've got a series of internationals. So it's very exciting, and I think it'll be well received.
Absolutely. We stole one of those Group 1s last week, Murray Baker and Andrew Forsman picking up the derby with Quick Plinkett. What are our chances of doing it again with Probabile in the Oaks and Melody Bell and Tiako Shark and the Queen Elizabeth in your mind?
Yeah, look, I think this has been one of the strongest carnivals you've had, obviously kicking off with Tiako Shark in the Chipping Norton. We've had Tony Pike across here with the Bostonian, Quick Thinker already winning a derby. I think Jamie Richards and Brendan Lindsay and that team with Probabile have been knocking on the door. So I think they'll be worthy contenders in the Oaks. We've obviously got Colette, who was very impressive for Godolphin, and James Cummings last weekend. So really they're our top two. But I think it's pleasing to see so many Group 1 winners in this year's renewal of the Queen Elizabeth, but headed by two horses. Melody Bell, obviously, placed in an All-Star Mile, placed in a series of Group 1 races since her winning the Maya Classic last year at Flemington. To see a mare of that quality in double figures is probably unusual, and also to have Tiako Shark, who his figures were sensational back in the Chipping Norton, I think gives you a great chance of getting on the podium. But probably this year I've brought some pretty good contenders to run against. So yeah, it'll be very interesting come Saturday.
Absolutely. It's one of the key facets of your role is that you are sort of scouting for those international horses. At the top of the book, we see Denim Premium, Japanese horse who's got form around some of the best horses out of that country, seeing Lee Scrissure and Armand Eye and company in key form lines for him. Sounds like he settled in well. James McDonald really happy with his track work. What do you expect from him, James?
Look, I'm expecting a lot. He's obviously been a champion 2-year-old in Japan. He's carried his form. He's possibly the most well-performed horse to arrive here. He's got that form. He rates 119, placed behind Armand Eye in a 10-0 show, placed behind Indy Champ in a mile championship, which gives you the indication he's got the speed.
Yeah.
So he's a horse of super quality. And his trainer, who may not be well known to many people in international racing, Mitsu Nakauchida, is really an emerging trainer in Japan. He's a top 5 trainer, and he'll be a name that you'll see a lot of in the next few years. So he sent a horse over in really good condition. The horse has adapted so well at Canterbury. He's, as an end-type by Deep Impact, he's taken everything in his stride. And obviously we've had those few wet days this week change the season down here. But his work this morning on the course proper on what was probably a soft 7 at Canterbury was particularly pleasing. So I think the team's not as phased as maybe connections normally would be with a horse from Japan who would like firmer ground, so which I think is no secret. But yeah, James is wrapped. So
yeah, well. How does he fare against our Kiwi horses, plus the other internationals that you've got there, plus the likes of James's last start Group 1 winner from the Tancred and Very Elegant? There's a few horses that are a little bit more seasoned. So how does Denim Premier match up against those?
Yeah, look, a lot of depth in this year's race. We've got 10 Group 1 winners, 2 Group 2 winners, and, Master of Wine, I think we all think's a Group 1 winner in waiting. So I think we're looking at a race with enormous depth. I think a horse will really have to run to that 118, 119 mark to be competitive. But you've seen both of those New Zealand horses run really good figures against Australia's best weight for age horses across the year. So it's going to depend so much on their runs. Like, I think Jamie Richards and the team at Tiako will take a hell of a lot of confidence out of that run with Melody Bell last week, covering ground off our numbers, facing the breeze and probably covering a length and a half to 2 lengths more than any other runner in the race due to that awkward draw, puts that as virtually a winning run with a top weight in a race of quality of the Doncaster. So the numbers are there to suggest it, but everybody's going to have to bring their A game and really perform to that 118, 119 level to get across the line.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, the Sydney Cup, how are you assessing that race for us, James?
Yeah, Sydney Cup's normally been really well represented by the Kiwis, but I've struggled a little bit this year. We've seen a couple of horses stuck in New Zealand. I know Donald Logan would have liked to have been here. Sound for Mike Moroney. The Moroney team's been a great supporter of the Sydney Cup. And Chris Waller, it's a Sydney Cup without Chris Waller, which seems unheard of. He's been, a huge factor in the race in previous years. So it's a little bit lighter on overall numbers, but as I look through the top of it, you've got horses the quality of Mustajir, obviously an E-ball winner. Young Rascal's a fascinating horse that we've brought down. Carried a lot of collateral fitness through his run in Hong Kong. He's been first up in the Manion Cup, won that, and I think gone on. So he's a legitimate favourite. But yeah, we've got Gallic Chieftain, who's run a placing in a previous Sydney Cup, and Raheen House. So yeah, the quality's still there. It's an intriguing race, and the chosen one for Murray Baker. So you can never rule the team out in a big 2 mile handicap, can you? So
Absolutely, and they showed that last week. And of course, Aidan James coming over from Mark Lupton's stable. He has shifted it into the care of Kieran Maher and David Eustace. Just going back to Young Rascal, William Haggas is obviously he's targeted this carnival, hasn't he?
Look, he has. We would have started those conversations probably in about July or August last year. Yeah. So it's been a long-range plan for William, knowing how he was going to plot the course of these two horses. You would have seen a Dave run on Champions Day, and he was first up when he won the Ranvet here. But he's managed to put a lot of preparation and fitness into both horses, which is why they ran so well here first up. But yeah, a really long-range plan to find two horses which are versatile on the conditions. And I think he's been well rewarded, and it's sort of it's striking to see there his two leading prize money earners in the stable with no racing on at the moment in the UK. Yeah. But both of those horses adding a huge amount, and I think our objective has always been in our international strategy here we were never going to be overrun with international horses, but to progressively build those horses each year. So you would have also seen he's eminent for Sir Mark Todd last year. Probably unlucky to run into Abilius at his peak, running second in a Ramvet, but we've added horses each year. Kluger was another one, yeah. And polarization for Charlie Appleby. So we're building each year to create these races which we want to be in the top 10 races in the world, which the Longines Queen Elizabeth Stakes quite often is. So you've got to keep working hard and keep improving each year, and I think it's really panned out nicely for us.
Yeah. Terrific card outside that as well, with the Coolmore Legacy. Then you've got the Arrowfield Sprint, the Percy Sykes, and other races besides. But one thing I just wanted to get from you, James, before we left, obviously you spoke about England not racing at the moment. We're not racing. So it really does put the spotlight on Australian racing from a global perspective. What advantages are there for you guys? Is it purely from a betting sort of punting point of view, or are there other spin-offs?
Look, I think there is definitely spin-offs, particularly for all of those commercial partners we have who are sticking with us at these tricky times. They're getting great global exposure. We've got the championships going into over 60 countries through our partners, Sky International. We've got huge coverage out of Tom Marcone winning his first Group 1 race the other day on a Dave. So massive coverage in the UK and Ireland. A lot of those countries are regular followers of us, but now they're almost exclusively following. So yeah, I think that's been huge. This will be the first time that the Longines Queen Elizabeth Stakes is bet on in Japan. So that'll be a massive market with a horse that is going to probably go off in Japan under even money. They support their horses very well. So and then also into Hong Kong. So yeah, there's certainly betting value, but so much value for our sponsors, for exposure, and the overall quality and recognition of racing in Sydney. So yeah, I think there's a number of factors which are going to work positively for us, and we'll keep racing as long as possible. You would have seen the separation that we've got in place already. We've just taken it to a different level each week, and we've now got some of those jurisdictions coming to us and sharing their learnings and using our learnings. So yeah, I think that'll stand things in good stead. And when we get up and going in New Zealand, I think it'll be great to see as well.
Yep, like most of New Zealand, the punters here, I can't wait for Saturday and day two. James, thanks for giving us the time. And my one regret is that I'm not over there joining you.
You would normally be here, Aidan. So we've got an empty seat here for you, but at least you giving plenty of coverage over there, and I know everyone will be watching. So best of luck to all the Kiwi horses here on Saturday.
All the best, James. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.